Hello everyone, my name is Dustin Jones, owner of Blackstone Custom Calls. Welcome to Friction Calling Beyond the Basics, Episode 2. This episode, I'll take a little bit of time, touch upon a couple different things. First off, I see a lot of Facebook posts, forum posts, all asking who makes the best friction call, who makes the best slate call, who makes the best crystal call, who makes the best mouth call. It doesn't matter. My answer, if somebody is to always ask me, is there is no best. It's only what works best for you. Everybody has a different style of calling. And this is, it breaks it, I can break it down all the way to your hands. Everybody's got different size hands, different size fingers. I think of fingers and your hands as like limb savers on a bow, and the striker being a tuning fork. Where you place them, or the bow limb, however you want to look at it, where you place your fingers along this shaft makes a big difference in the sound that you get out of your call. I see people that hold it and got quite a bit of shaft sticking out. Me personally, I don't feel comfortable doing that, so I kind of grab it down lower, and we'll get into more of that later. But to me, there's no best call out there. There's a lot of really good calls made by a lot of really good call makers. And your buddy and you could be turkey hunting, and he hands you this call, and he just had a turkey gobble to it 2 minutes ago. He said, "Here, this is the best call. Try it." You play it. Turkey doesn't gobble. You don't like the sound of it. Can't use it as well as he did, because it don't fit your style or the way you think something should hear, or think you should hear something. The reason that he picks it out of his vest every time is because it fits his style. He's got confidence in it. He's played that call. He's worked with that call. He's practiced on that call. That's a reason it's his go-to call. Every time he goes to it, that's more practice time on that call. So he knows that call inside and out. And it's fit his style right off the bat. It's fit the sound that he's confident in hearing. And when you're confident in your sound, you're going to get more turkeys to gobble. It's an emotion that you can put in there that you don't even know you're doing. So all that being said, like I said, there's no best call. It's just what works best for you. Get out there to some outdoor expos, try a bunch of different friction calls, go to the NWTF convention. You can play calls for 3 days. If you can't make it down there, you got a buddy that's got a bunch of different calls, or just a few different calls, and he'll let you play them. By all means, go play them. Find out what works best for you. With all that being said, I want to get into how a friction call functions, how I believe it should function. I'm not saying any way's right or wrong, or any sound's right or wrong. Turkeys all have a multitude of different sounds, just like me and everybody else talking. Everybody's got a different sound. This is just what I'm confident in, and how I get the sound that I want to hear out of the calls that I use. Okay, that all being said, this outer ring right here would represent the rim of this call right here. Okay, now any friction call should change tone, should change pitch, however you want to say it. It should at least go to a high to a lower tone. That's how I hear a turkey yelp a lot of times, and that's a lot of what you rely on in the woods, is a yelp. So with that being said, any friction call should have 3 tone rings to it: high, a middle tone, and a low tone. Some people call this the dead zone. And it's okay for friction calls to have that. It's just the way they are. As long as you can get high to a lower tone out of the call, you're moving in the right direction. Now, I get into how some people use a call to Yelp with, and how I use a call, and other calls that I have used. I see a lot of people going from Yelping from a middle tone ring to the higher on the outside towards the rim. So they'll go from a lower tone to a high tone. Me personally, I can't do that and get the sound that I want to hear out of it. I see some people go from a middle tone to the lower tone. Um, Again, I can't get the sound that I want to hear and that I'm confident in. Uh, so me, like I said, I go from a high to the middle ring, which is a high to a lower tone. And there's different ways you can get into Yelping. Me, I'm left-handed. I can hand it to my buddy, it's right-handed. The call's going to sound totally different just because his hand size is different, where he holds the striker. I've watched everything he does. Holds the striker different, the difference in the length of the striker, how he holds his hand around the call, everything's different. It's not just because we're right and left-handed. But there's 3 different types. I'm going to go into a right-handed way, also with a left-handed way. This is a north to south style Yelp, where you just start high, go to the middle, and just make it like an elongated oval. Now, right-handed people, you're going to come from a northeast to a southwest, so you'll get kind of a slant to it. Left-handed, same way. Sorry for the poor circles here, the poor ovals. You're going to go from a northwest to a southeast. So again, you're going to start in the higher range ring and then go to a lower tone. And me, and the way I build my calls, because every call maker builds them a little different, so the rings may be a little different. And this is why I brought a slate call out here today to test it. Like I said, you'll hear 3 different tones: high, middle, and low. Here we go. High, middle, low. Okay. And the way I make my calls and the way I run them, I start my Yelp anywhere from 5/16 to maybe 3/8 of an inch, maybe more like 3/8 of an inch down from the rim of the call. And that's where I start my Yelp. Now my Yelp, I can cover with a nickel or a dime. You can see it on there. Now I see some people, they'll Yelp and they'll go real far with it. I can't control it as well. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I haven't practiced it enough, so I don't do that much. Here's how it'll look. I don't know if you can see that on there, but it's a lot longer. You can see it start right through there and ends plumb over here. And once again, they just kind of slant down into that middle ring. Me, I like to start a cluck or cutting right about where the 2 tone rings meet. And like I said before, where you place your fingers at on this striker makes a world of difference. Now me, I see a lot of people have, like I said, a lot more strikers sticking out. I always kind of just think of it like this. You can see my fingers are like little ridges in the call, grooves in the call for conditioning. If I have my striker like this, it catches all them grooves and gets a lot more rasp out of it. And it gets so much that I can't get a front end that I want out of it. So I just pinch it down lower, and it runs across them smoother. You can do this by going back and watching part 1 or episode 1, how to condition the call. You can go 80 grit and get them deep grooves, and you can hold it up like this and get a real raspy sound out of it. You can go 120, hold it down like this and get a nice cleaner sound, a nice high to low sound, you know, a nice breakover into the call, into the back end of the yelp. The last thing I want to cover real quick is different styles of how to hold the call. Me personally, I like to hold the call up off my hand like this so all the sound holes can breathe. That's how I was calling just a little bit ago. You might see it like that, but it's still up off my fingers. Another style people do is what I call half cup. You know, and they cut off just a few of the sound holes, and this is how it sounds. And what that's doing is it's cutting off a few of the sound holes, maybe a third or a quarter, and then the rest of them are just projecting the sound directly into the meat of your hand. And to me, it just kind of kills it just a little bit, gives it a more raspier sound. Another way I see people hold a call is almost flat like this, with just their fingertips kind of open, to where just a few sound holes get air. And again, you know, it's going to a high to low. It's shortening up the front end of the yelp, and the rest of the sound is being projected right into your hand, where it's kind of deadening it, giving it a raspier sound. Like I said, these are all my opinions on how I see things and how I do things. One thing might work for you better than another. What works for you might not work for me, might not work for your buddy. Like I said, he could hand you this call and say this is the best, and turkeys just gobble to it. You pick it up and it doesn't work that well for you. And you can put your hand up against somebody else's and they're that much longer or bigger around. It all plays a factor into it. So like I said, the best thing to do is to find a friction call that works best for you. Custom call makers, a lot of them, if you get a call from them, myself included, if you get a call from me and don't like the sound of it, get a back hold of me. Let me know. I'll get you your money back, or I'll get you a call that you do like. I know a lot of custom call makers that are like that. So don't be afraid to call one of us. Let us know what you're looking for, what you want, and we'd be more than happy to help you. That's all I have for Friction Calling Beyond the Basics, episode 2, and we'll see you guys next time.